As your virtualization environment grows and you have more and more VMs and more Hyper-V hosts running those VMs, all connected to your large scale storage, what can happen is virtual machines could start to create performance issues with the storage. They'll start creating contention between each other. The storage can only provide so many input output per second, or IOPS, that are available to that storage device. But you may have VMs that suddenly, a particular VM has an application that starts to use all of those IOPS, and other VMs start to suffer in performance. Well, one of the new features to Server 2012 R2 is the ability to configure storage quality of service. And I want to show you how to do that. Now, a couple of notes before we dive too far in. You're going to be able to control the maximum amount of IOPS that a virtual machine can have. Now, this requires a considerable amount of knowledge of your application, the IOPS that it needs to get in order to function at an acceptable level. And then you can decide if you want to cap it or throttle it so that it can't go beyond that. So you need that application specific knowledge first, but once you have it, we can go into settings. And it's kind of tricky to find. Here's my iSCSI controller, and here's the virtual hard drives that I have. And notice that I've got a couple of them. This can be set per virtual drive. So that's why there's this little plus sign, because when you hit plus, you'll get the advanced features that you can use to turn on quality of service management. Now, since each virtual drive can be configured differently, because they could be located in different parts of the storage, this can be kind of management intense, that if you have a lot of VMs, how do I configure them? And then how do I monitor them and find out? And a couple of notes, use PowerShell. You can configure this quickly using PowerShell. And also earlier in this course, I showed you how to measure the VMs. Well, you get the IOPS numbers that the VMs are doing when you measure those VMs. So you can do this with PowerShell and Scale. In our case, I'm going to go over here. There's two settings. I'm actually going to talk about both of them. The one that we're focused on right now, enable quality of service, and then there's virtual hard disk sharing. And since it's here, I'll talk about it in just a second. Right now, I'm going to enable the quality of service, and you can set the minimum and maximum number of IOPS. For minimum, I'm going to leave mine at 0, but the maximum, let's say I know that my particular application needs to be able to get 500 IOPS out of this, the storage when it's working with it. I can specify the number, hit apply, and now it won't let it go beyond that. If something should go wrong, a process should start to try to grab too many resources, the IOPS won't be able to be increased above that. You can even see this getting throttled as a machine tries to grab more. So that's one thing that you can do to stop the contention that will occur between VMs when you're using the large storage platforms, or you're starting to set up your own private cloud environment and everybody's using shared storage. Something else you can do, and I'm going to go ahead and turn this off and take a look at this, the virtual hard disk sharing. There's a lot of scenarios where you want to set up file server clustering. Now, this is certainly outside of the scope for the 7410 exam, but I just want you to know for real life, when you set up something like clustering between multiple VMs, you'll have a shared storage implementation. And so what that means is you want the two servers to be able to access the same storage. To do that in Hyper-V, you can, for this particular disk, enable virtual hard disk sharing. And this will allow two different VMs to use that now in that cluster configuration. So you can certainly set that up as well. But remember, it's quality of service, new feature for Server 2012 R2, allowing you to control the maximum and minimum amount of IOPS that a VM will get so that it doesn't run away and take away performance from other VMs.